Welcome back to Inside Politics. Our guest today is Congressman Mark Green. Congressman, while we were on the subject before we took the break of President Trump, he continues to get in these Twitter fights about John McCain. As a longtime military person, do you find this disagreement now with a dead man to be kind of disconcerting? I mean, he's considered by most military people to be a hero, and obviously the president doesn't think so.
You know, when I look at John McCain, and I supported him when he ran for president, when I look at John McCain, I see a guy who spent a lot of time, you know, in prison, in a POW camp in Hanoi, and, you know, I think about those kinds of things. I think a lot of Republicans, conservatives especially, are disappointed with some of his decisions as a U.S. Senator. But I can't get past the fact that he served our nation as a Navy pilot, and I think the world of that service, and so.
And the president obviously likes to tweet a lot on policy issues, sometimes makes foreign policy issues and news overnight on things like that. Do you kind of wish, I know you're a supporter of the president, do you kind of wish he'd tweet a little bit less?
I think the way I would answer that question is, I would probably say some things a little differently than the president does, whether it's in a tweet or in a news interview or whatever. But you know, I support every decision he's made. So say it maybe a little differently, but support the decisions.
We talked about Senator Alexander a little bit earlier. He was a little bit critical of you of some comments that you made in a town hall meeting about vaccines. You had some questions about how the FDA was looking at that. You said you were misconstrued in that, yet the quotes seemed to be pretty much pretty solid.
You know, I did vaccine research at USAMRIID, the U.S. Army Institute of Infectious Diseases. I mean, I'm not anti-vaccine. I vaccinated my own children. As a physician, I've told patients they should be vaccinated. You know, I don't know what else to say.
Senator Alexander says vaccines work, they save lives.
Absolutely.
You agree that's true?
I agree with that statement, yeah.
But what is it that you have a problem with the FDA then?
I don't have a problem with the FDA.
You have a problem with their research or something?
No, we weren't. I don't think there was any mention of the FDA.
There seemed to be something. You weren't sure their research and how they were looking into it to justify the things they were doing. What was it you had a problem with? What created these stories?
Really, the best thing that I can say on this issue is patients should get vaccinated. They should. Vaccines save lives, you know, and it's the right thing to do.
When you went to Washington, we were in the middle of this shutdown going on in the government. So I guess for the first month and a half you were there, you weren't quite sure why you were there, because there wasn't much Congress could do because the government was more or less shut down, at least partially.
Well, I knew why I was there. I mean, but I definitely, it was a little bit frustrating to see the government shut down, absolutely. You
came from a Tennessee government where shutdowns don't happen.
Right.
Washington seems to have at least the threat of one every couple of months.
Yeah.
Shouldn't the president and Congress come together someplace and stop this nonsense?
Yeah, I actually, as the president of the freshman class of Republicans, sat down with some leadership of the freshman class of Democrats, and we tried to come up with a bill that would initiate with us that would basically make government shutdowns impossible. It would hurt Congress so much, you know, we would give up our pay. And as you'll recall, I basically gave up my pay during the process.
But most congressmen make so much money that giving up their pay in Congress is not necessarily
it's still
a big
nice thing to do, right? I mean, it really is.
Well, nice, but is that going to really motivate them from not doing the political thing and going along with their parties to foment these shutdowns?
I think
it doesn't seem to so far, because lots of congressmen give up their pay.
Yeah, not all of them though. Well, but you know, if we aren't paying employees and the military and members of TSA and Border Patrol, we shouldn't get paid.
Well, you had a resolution that I assume passed that would allow the Gold Star spouses to continue to be paid even during the shutdown.
Absolutely.
And that's probably, most people think that's the right thing.
I think so.
But we had a lot of people that were contract employees of the government that, as far as I know, have still not been paid for the money they lost.
You're absolutely right, and that's an issue that we've got to address.
Why should they be kept? Why should we have anybody being held hostage up there because Congress can't do their job?
I agree. Congress should do its job, and we should penalize Congress when they don't.
Your party lost power this past year in holding the Congress. What does your party do to get power back in control of the House and keep the White House, and for that matter, keep the Senate in 2020?
I think there's a combination of things. One, we've got to make sure that the American people see where the Democrat Party is going. I mean, they are going to Green New Deal. They're going to packing the court. They're going to doing away with the Electoral College. They're basically fundamentally changing
Medicare for all.
Medicare for all. I mean, it's we need to make sure that America sees where the Democrat Party is going. A lot of people on the other side of the aisle are not comfortable with the direction of the Democrat Party right now. So I think make sure that people know that. I think we also need to make sure that people see us as inclusive. You know, we lost some women in the suburbs. We lost with millennials, and just making sure they see. You know, I am on the board of advisors for Latinos for Tennessee. We are a big tent party, as Reagan said, and we've got to make sure people see us as inclusive.
Is the Republican Party a party of Reagan anymore? Is it the party of Donald Trump? It seems to be.
Well, it's very interesting. I was reading a speech the other day of Ronald Reagan, and I'm going to botch this quote, but it was essentially, Americans want to feel a sense of mission and greatness. And I thought, that sounds a lot like Make America Great Again. So I think there are a lot of similarities between what Reagan did and what President Trump is doing. I do think that there are many of us who are conservative and who think the way Ronald Reagan thinks. I certainly do.
Well, Ronald Reagan had that way of being able to tell people to go to the devil. They look forward to the trip. This current president, and for that matter, the Republican Party, seems to have lost the ability to do that. They seem to be more confrontational than they are bringing together. Well,
I would put it this way. I think all politics, Democrat and Republican, need to stop attacking each other and start attacking the policies instead of the people. And that's something I'm trying to do as the president of the Republican Party, or the Republican freshman.
Congressman Mark Green, thank you so much for joining us.
Thanks for having me on the show.
For you in Washington. And thank you for being with us on Inside Politics this week. We'll be back here again for a future show. If you can't get enough politics in the meantime, go to the News Channel 5 website. You'll find my Capitol View commentary there. There's new commentary posted every Friday afternoon. Enjoy the rest of your weekend, and we'll see you back here next time. Goodbye.